an inmate, they're unbelievable according to society, especially the people in Walton County. They're unbelievable. So if an inmate goes home and tells their family, like, I was treated like A, B, C, and D, and they're like, no, you weren't. Not in that jail. That jail's pretty. That sheriff has a great smile, and he's got the safest jail in the safest county, and no, you weren't. And it would take something as simple as an open records request to get what I have.
All right. Well, there are quite a few people that are naive to the fact. Even on election night, we spoke to a young lady in reference who she voted for sheriff, and she said Joe Chapman. And we asked, well, what do you know about Joe Chapman? And she's like, his name was on the ballot. That was it. So she checked his name. So then we went into discussion, talking about things about her. She broke down into tears, and she said, oh my God, I voted for this person. So I didn't stop there. Every time I'm out and about, and I still ask people, hey, how you doing? What do you think about this? And well, this is why I did it. One, oh, well, he did something nice for a nephew of mine. Okay, well, what if he threatened your nephew with sexual sodomy while incarcerated? No, he wouldn't do nothing like that. No, it's been proven he has. She's like, well, then I wouldn't have voted for him had I known that. So again, people have reached out and said, well, guess what? I wish you'd have had gotten your name out there a little bit more, and made these things a little more aware. No, we've been there for four months, pushing pretty hard via internet, social media. The information was there. As I told that lady, if you look up Chili's or you look up Applebee's when you're ready for that meal, you go. But when it came to election time, did you look up any of your commissioners? Did you look up who the candidates are for sheriff? You have to do the proper research before you just click a box. It's too easy.
But that they do it, and it amazes me. And I was one of those people. This was my first year voting ever. And when it came to people and the Senate and people that really, they affect how my life turns out. But do I know these people? No. And then there was like a lot of boxes, like Joe Chapman's box with the only name in it.
Right. And again, if
there was the write-in option, but in my county, thank God we didn't have that write-in option. Our sheriff's decent. He cares.
All right. Well, people, some of them are, oh, well, you're a sore loser, and this is just a hater page. Well, to address you, honestly, we didn't lose. We did exactly what we set out to. We ran for our position. We brought a lot of light on topics that were swept underneath the carpet, that were hidden. A lot of them are still being hidden, as in the Nateefa Smith, who was involved in the accident. After July 25th, no one really cared about Nateefa Smith anymore. Yes, I spoke with the parents last evening. I actually had a chance to see Nateefa Smith for the first time since the actual accident. And I'm just going to say this. The Sheriff's Department did send a gift basket. They sent flowers and a balloon. No one else has reached out since. And that's not acceptable. We all have kids. We all have children. The decent thing is to pick up the phone or show up and say, hey, how is your child doing? I'm sorry. But we didn't lose. We came, we conquered. A lot of people are more aware. We even made somewhat history as far as write-ins. We had 2,600 write-ins, which is, I don't think it's ever happened as far as running for a sheriff position, which again, I thank everyone for that, because it took people time to research, look and read and see, and want a better Walton County, truly. Even now, we're receiving more friends than actually at campaign time, which is a great thing, because people are actually now seeing the true light, and they're looking into it a little bit more. So again, we're not haters, we're not losers. I'm happy that we did bring stuff to light. I'm sure there are certain people that are not too thrilled about what was brought to light. But Allison deserves closure. Jacob Little deserves his true justice. Nateefa Smith deserves justice. the other suicide individuals deserve justice. So again, we came with a mission, and we won our mission. We're not stopping here. We're still asking for the resignation of Joe Chapman. We're still pushing for impeachment. We're still going to actually continue forward with this drive, even if it's for 4 more years. That's fine. It's not a problem. We're going to protest. We're taking it straight to Atlanta. And it has nothing to do with the campaign. Crimes were committed, things were neglected and overlooked. And people in Walton County obviously don't care about it. And when I say people, it's not really the citizens, it's people in positions of power that have the option of coming in and giving true justice to these families and making sure that these things don't happen again and actually bring some accountability to Walton County. So if we have to go to the governor, if we have to go to a congressman.
I've already went to the governor.
Well, quite a few people have went to the governor. We've blown up email addresses. We've blown up fax machines. Again, not really too much of a response there. So I guess maybe we have to go knocking on front doors.
People in positions of power. This was a sermon at my church 2 weekends ago. People in a position of power have to earn their respect. But where people go wrong is thinking that position of power comes with the respect, and it doesn't, because you have to earn it. And what is going on in that jail, what is going on in this county period, is not earning nothing for me.
And
you put Jacob
others.
Little on the news, you put my mother's death on the news, but yet you don't mention the threats of rape.
Right.
You don't mention the lady that's still alive from a wreck that he had with her. But deaths, you have no problem feeding off of these deaths. And I always knew that my mom would make a difference somehow, some way, whether it was she got clean and helped people. I never imagined it being this way. But I can tell you that there's a lot of people other than just you and I that are not happy with it.
Definitely.
It's been said to me that you've manipulated me, you've used me for your benefit. I'm nothing but a campaign monkey. So let me just say this for everybody to hear. You've not manipulated me. If I'm not mistaken, I wrote you first. I reached out to you. It was a way to help people. It was a way to get it out there, show people what was wrong, and
wanting better for
everybody, not just
right.
this county, everybody. And that, it just amazes me.
This is the first I've actually heard of that, and that actually kind of sickens me to think that some people are actually twisted like that. That's pretty low down when you say something like that.
I mean,
especially when it comes to someone's life. Because again, for you to come forward and say something like that, I would say reverse the roles first. Put your feet in those shoes. Know that your mother, based off of negligence, is no longer here.
My only response to that was, he's not Joe Chapman. You're not using me to get where you need to be, because here we are after the election's over. We're still talking. I talk to you on the phone 3-4 times a week.
Right.
You call me to check on me. I reach out to you we need that type of person. And I live in a whole other county. I'm perfectly content in my county.
Well, just as you reach out, I can't stay off of my phone.
I know. It was ringing off the hook when I was on the phone with you.
My kids are for real again. I'm sorry, and I have to say this to them because those last 4 months have taken a lot of time from them, from sports. I thank you so much for your sacrifices. Y'all are my heart. Y'all are awesome. And I just want to say thank you. That goes to David, Walter, and Lily. You're not gone forgotten. I got to make up some time. But back to this.
They'll thank you for it when they get old enough to have to deal with
exactly
the backlash from all of it.
Right. And that's one of the reasons I'm actually fighting for better and wanting a better county, a safer county, You know, my daughter here in a couple of years will start driving. 7,000 plus accidents. Like, come on. You know, we have to do better than this. We can't just continue letting our kids have these accidents that a certain county doesn't care about. You know, it's an accident. I understand accidents are going to happen, but we're doing absolutely nothing to prevent them. We're not doing nothing to slow them down. We're not making sure intersections are just being plowed through on red lights.
The intersection at Good Hope, I believe, was thrown up faster than the red lights and the caution lights and the pedestrian walkways after Jacob Little died.
Well, let me get back to that one. It's kind of really funny because Good Hope is a whole entity within itself. That's the first place that I actually put signs at the four-way. And within 3 hours of me putting signs out, those signs have disappeared. But then on the night of election, guess what happened? Joe Chapman signs go up. They stay up all day long. So that tells you a little bit about Good Hope.
It just tells you a little bit about your campaign to know that he even felt the need to put signs out.
Correct. Well,
Somebody
as long as he
ready.
left them up, because granted, this is indirectly, but even at the polling locations we put out over 60 signs that day to do rounds and come back. Our signs were pulled up, thrown into the ditch. His signs replaced my signs. So again, he didn't run. It wasn't even a fair campaign at that point in
It was
time.
like a high school homecoming court.
Exactly. He just kind of wanted to hide everything and keep people's mind off of what's going on. So, of course, we had to move billboards around and try to make people aware of what's going on all day long based off of, I guess you say, running a unfair campaign. He put out signs that day. How many signs did I pull up? Not one. Why should I? It's the people's choice. As somebody said, well, 33,000 people, 94% chose him. Well, guess what? You're right. 94% did.
And I can throw this back at people too, because everybody's thing is all the people that have something wrong with Joe Chapman are criminals. How many of those criminals are felons that don't have the right to vote?
Right.
That have now restored their life, changed their life, are doing better, but can't even vote.
Correct. Well, it's kind of fun we're talking about that because I'm actually starting a little group here to actually help them get their rights back to vote. And again,
Expunging, they don't know that.
right, they don't have, you'd be amazed what people in your own county don't know anything about. I've been a police officer here in Walton County since 2007 with local departments. And long story short, I've asked throughout my career from 2002 and forward, how many people actually knew what a resume was? And I stopped my count at over 600 people. So 600 people don't even know what a resume is, yet alone how to expunge a felony record. Again, as long as we keep people coming in and out of jails with a revolving door,
They don't need a resume.
don't need a resume. We're not, as long as I get to continue to make $250,000 off of phone calls from the phone provider, as long as I make over $100,000 a year in commissary from selling groceries that they can't get, why would I want to educate anybody in Walton County? I want them to come back because guess what? Walton County is not going to make $250,000 and then another $100,000 off of these inmates that just don't know better.
Someone said that I should have gotten a 1013, I think it was.
A 1013,
on my mother. What common citizen knows what in the devil's name a 1013 is?
And I went to several, and I had to kind of give the same explanation to people, and they, as you just said, what is a 1013? They're not aware.
And I called the sheriff's department. My mother, the one nurse, I can't remember her name. I want to say maybe Lisa. I talked to her quite a bit when my mom was in there in 2015 because she was withdrawing. I was worried about her. I don't know if she's still there. But I talked to her a few times over and over and over and over and over and asked her, what can I do? How can I help her? And she's like, she's going to need more help after this, yada, 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 yada. But she didn't even tell me a 1013. And
Right.
this is someone working in the sheriff's department. Where was this 1013 option when she's jumping out of a moving vehicle? Why wasn't that an option? Why isn't that an option versus jail?
Right.
You could have, okay, she's going crazy, she's jumping out of vehicles, she's beating up her boyfriend. So let's 1013 her and have her evaluated, and then per the evaluation we'll
follow up with charges later.
So,
Correct.
but it's not about that. It's about arresting, and that's that. Let's arrest them. Let's throw them away. What they do in our jail, we'll cover it up somehow, and then let's hope that they don't die here.
Right. Matter of fact, to that one person, I can't remember your name because clear as day, I get over 30 messages a day. You came at me with bluntness saying that I am a person out to help the criminals. No, I'm going to correct you, and I'm going to stand on what I say. I'll meet with you any day, any time, and we can sit down and have this discussion one-on-one. First and foremost, I'm a godly person. You deserve to be treated as such. It doesn't matter what you've done, because we're not to judge. That's not our choice. We're here to help people and get them on the right track. Me reaching out to help, whether it's an inmate or whether it's not an inmate, there's been numerous people throughout my career that I've helped that have not been inmates. So I'm not just helping the criminal portion. I help everyone equally. Inmates deserve an education system. Inmates deserve to come back out and learn a skill set to not continue to stay on the same path. And as long as we shove them in a cell, give them their clothes after their sentence is done, and send them back out the door, all they're going to do is come back and break into your car again. They're going to break back in your house. They'll steal something, and then what are you going to do? Well, that's crazy. They just keep coming back, and they keep breaking in. They keep doing the same thing. Well, guess what? As long as we keep shuffling them in and putting them back out the same way, what do you think is going to come out of that? The same thing. When are you going to get tired of getting up and running into a brick wall if you don't know no better? Again, it's our time as citizens to come down and break down this wall and help them get around over the wall. Whatever you want to say it is. It's time to help. We'll go ahead and finish up with the video real quick.
We're not the saviors for the human race. We can't predict and diagnose everything with everyone out there.
But Chapman agrees jail suicides can also cost tax.
We're not here to save the human race. You wear a badge. It says protect and serve.
No, he doesn't wear his badge.
Well, he's the sheriff. He does what he wants to do, obviously. You took that oath. It's your job. Everybody that comes through those doors, you're responsible for until they leave back out. A person in the position of a sheriff or a deputy, you're walking with a badge on. That is your job, to make sure that everyone stays safe and everybody goes home, if anything, smarter than when they came there.
Taxpayers dearly. None of the 5 suicides during his tenure has resulted in a lawsuit, but others have across the state. The city of Doraville's insurance company paid a $2 million settlement after this man hanged himself. Jailers neglected to pay attention to the live camera feed, missing hours of him testing his makeshift noose before ultimately taking his life.
13's over.
And I just want to say too, because I felt like people got offended with that. That was not Walton County.
Right.
People assumed it was Walton County and Mr. Jameson who hung himself in Walton County, and it was not him. I've had people ask me. I think some of his family members have asked him. Asked them, but that was not him.
Okay.
Walton County responds to each suicide by trying to stop the next one.
So you had a gap back here, Sheriff, and they pulled a sheet through?
They welded all bunks to the wall after an inmate used the gap to hang.
Okay, so I cannot wait to see what they decide to do with the railings in this jail. If every time a suicide happens, you do something to prevent it, what are you going to do now? Are you going to go all the way up with the railing? You're going to put plexiglass so they don't have the ability to even climb up it?
Right.
What are we doing? What are we going to do for that?
Right.
Where is it going to change?
Well, according to him, you can't save everybody, so.
But something like that could save someone. He had no problem welding these things. And that was the cheap way to do it because he didn't want to tack into his budget. That was the cheap way to do it. He welded the things to the wall.
Himself. They removed all payphones from this holding cell after an inmate used the cord to hang himself. and a poorly
This is a holding cell, and if I'm not mistaken, holding cells are right near
Intake.
intake. Okay. I'm not asking you to punish everybody, like taking the cell phones out. Why wasn't somebody watching him? He's in a holding cell. He's not thrown in general population yet.
Again, it goes back to what I said, just installing cameras into these areas.
And it doesn't even have to be a certified person to sit there and watch a camera.
Correct.
designed new jail wing requires a deputy constantly eyeball each cell because the watchtower cannot see in from a distance.
Anyone that thinks that somehow we enjoy suicides or don't care about suicides, that's just totally wrong, because I'm the one that looks these mothers and fathers in the eye. I'm the one that tells them what's happening with their child.
Even though the
Okay. Let me just say, when I heard that, my blood pressure was probably that of 200 over 100. Because not once have we heard from him. Maybe my relative that works there has heard from him. But as far as my mother's mother or me, I've yet to hear from anybody other than the chaplain at Newton County. I've not heard from anyone. My grandmother got the initial phone call that my mother had jumped. After the initial phone call, all the contact started with her and my aunt reaching out to people, not them reaching out to her. And I've not seen that man. He has not said anything to me. Nobody from Walton County has.
But he looks you in the eye and tells you.
You know, I wish he would. I wish he would look me in my eyes and see how I feel, understand my pain, what I go through, what my kids go through. Thanksgiving, I mean, it's right around the corner, and every time we would go to Thanksgiving, I would go to my dad's side of the family's house for lunch, and then I would go see my mom. So where are my kids asking to go? We're going to Gigi's. Yeah, we're going to go to Gigi's grave.
All right.
But we're not going to her house. I mean, look me in my eyes, talk to me. I'm sure now that I've put my foot in my mouth to the point where he's not going to talk to me. And that's fine, because that's better for me. Because I would probably say some things that I couldn't take back.
All right.
It's probably better on my part to not talk to him. And I'm okay with that, but don't sit on here and lie for the whole state of Georgia and say that you look everybody in their eyes, because you don't. Because if you did, then you would not be so complacent with what's happening here. You're just acting like, oh, it's a problem in these jails and there's nothing we can do about it.
Did you ever talk to your grandmother?
Nope.
Show up on her doorstep?
Nope.
Come to the hospital?
Nope. The only time I think Walton County showed up on her doorstep anyways is when they were looking for my mama.
medical report lists serious
And it is again, Lisa Yearwood.
suicide attempt. An internal affairs investigation suggested it was just as likely that Linda Yearwood was only trying to break her leg the day she jumped, so she might be released on home confinement. An autopsy is pending. For now, her death.
Note, and this is what I have a very big problem with. Clearly, right there. Well, according to them, it was Lisa, but we know it's Linda. If you're going to jump off of a railing to break your leg,
Someone did that in Walton County, though.
would you not think you would not dive head first off of a railing? You just watched it. Head first. That's not to break a leg.
Someone jumped off the railing at Walton County and broke their legs, and in the investigation report from Newton County about Mother's death, it said in there that they think that she jumped off the rails to break her legs because that she thought Walton County followed the same policies and procedures as Newton County, and they don't. Walton County, if you injure yourself, you get thrown out back home on an ankle monitor. Mm-hmm. Newton County, it don't happen that way.
Well, my thing is, if we going on assumption, then she would still be here today, because we'd just assume that she's going to stay suicidal throughout the rest of her life. So when she was booked in, she would have been suicidal. When she went to Newton County, she would have been suicidal. and she would have never been able to jump.
No one thinks about how I think. No one's gonna know what happened to her. No one. Yeah, I saw the video, so I know that someone else didn't do it, and that's what someone said to me. I heard she was pushed. No, she wasn't pushed. She did it herself. So whether she meant to hurt herself or meant to kill herself, it's still suicide because she did it to herself.
Right.
And it amazes me that you can assume one thing but not the other, and then you can assume what this dead woman is thinking. Like, if anybody had the right to make that assumption, it would be me or my grandmother, somebody close to her, somebody that can tell you what, like, her way of thinking. But someone who doesn't know her from the next inmate that walks through the door, you know? Like,
Right.
You don't get that right.
Is not officially ruled a suicide. Just one more desperate act from a woman with a history of mental issues in a place where sanity rarely finds any rest.
You can't prevent every suicide, and you can't help every single person you come across, but if there's some type of initiative, something can be done.
So kind of looks like he used your words. I was just looking at that.
Because I did my interview first.
You did yours first.
I didn't even know he was going to be...
So if you did yours first and he went to talk to him second, there's a possibility that he saw your footage prior to you,
Or
think?
asked this...
Because it's kind of, they were kind of similar. That was really, that was
And that's
weird.
me and my mom when my oldest son was born. Somebody had enough nerve to write me and was like, "You look like you followed in your mom's footsteps. You look like a drug addict in that picture." I was in labor for 2 days and had an 8-pound, 14-ounce baby.
But again, that's someone that doesn't comprehend.
What does that even have to do with the fact that my mother's gone?
Right. And that's what bothers me so much is because they it's like they're nitpicking.
Like, are you trying to push me over the edge? Like, what are you trying to do?
That's what it seems like people are trying to do in totality, not just with you, with other people that we're talking about. Even the Natifa Smith, oh, you're just after the money. You're just trying. No. People, it's bigger than just money.
I don't need Walton County's money. I work every day for a reason. I go to work every day.
Well, I mean, honestly, let's say you decided to go sue him for $35 million. That doesn't bring your mama back, does it?
Nope. You couldn't walk up to me with a briefcase with $35 million and me give you my mama for it. It's not going to bring her back. It's not going to do anything for me. That money is not going to do anything for me.
And that's what people are failing to see. It has nothing to do with money.
Now, the sheriff agrees his medical staff should have given Linda Yearwood a higher score on that suicide evaluation.
The sheriff agreed that they should have gave her a higher score on this. But what was the number? What number do you think? And then he's about to say that he doesn't think it would have been high enough for an admit. But I've proved that. It was high enough. 6 or higher, you go straight there.
Right.
We're only on letter 5 and we're already 6 in.
Yep. Maybe he
But
doesn't use his own forms. That
Still does
much.
not think it would have been enough to justify placing her under suicide watch this year, as his jail did in 2015. He says he's confident
His jail did not place her in suicide watch. That was me. I called them and told them she was suicidal. They didn't know. This is a recorded phone line she's talking to me on.
But they reacted off of basically what you said.
Based off what I said.
So again, they did put her on suicide watch based off of
What I said.
what you heard.
Yeah.
Correct.
But
So again, who watched them?
Yeah.
Did you come and watch your mama physically, or did Walton County watch her?
Walton County watched them, but halfway.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot about the.
I'm the one who initiated that suicide watch, and do you know that ever since I saw that room, it has ate me alive. Like, I did this to my mother. I put her in this room. She bit her wrist trying to pop the veins out. Like, I did this to her.
Right.
And now you've put it on the news so everybody sees it. How many family members are going to call in now and be like, my grandson is suicidal, or my daughter is suicidal?
Right.
And then now they know where they're going to go, especially in Walton County.
his jail does a lot more than most jails when it comes to mental illness.
That is so interesting because it seems like that survey is kind of archaic. I'm surprised they don't have like a database where when someone comes in, they can type in their name and any priors would pop up along with any, history of suicide.
In a perfect world, Sine, that would work. But the sheriff says he's understaffed.
In a perfect world, that would work. This isn't Alice in Wonderland. We're asking for a simple computer that is designated for this. The system that you already have, you're not going to pay any more money for it. You already have this system. Let them have access to it. Hire
Right.
your own people.
Right.
This world's by no means perfect, but this can be fixed. And that really got me when he was like, in a perfect world. In a perfect world, we wouldn't even be talking about this because we wouldn't have inmates to begin with.
In a perfect world, you would come down and see what's going on in your jail, and see what your deputies are doing. Who's in suicide? Who's not in suicide? What's happened in the last 24 hours? What systems do we have in place for this? Well, I guess the golf clubs and the
Slot machine.
we know where the attention is, because it's definitely not in the Walton County Sheriff's Office in the position that he's holding currently.
Watch his face. He looks so disgusted at the end of this.
Doesn't have the budget to try to tie all these databases together. And he also pointed out, he said, 2/3 of the people in his jail right now are getting some sort of treatment for mental illness, either medication or some sort of counseling. And, you know, there's just not enough suicide cells to watch all of them, because they may commit suicide. Because all those people have said they're not suicidal, otherwise they'd be in that suicide.
The suicide watch room is for someone who may commit suicide. Everybody is assumed to may commit suicide. You're a suicide watch. We're going to watch you to make sure you don't commit suicide. We're
Right.
going to strip you of your basic human rights and throw you in this room with a paper gown on and make sure you don't do it. But there's not enough suicide rooms to put everybody in. I don't want my dog in there.
Well, that's because we want a new jail.
He doesn't need a new jail. He needs to take that money, that $7 million that I saw today that somebody posted to me on Facebook, and fix the one he has. There's no reason for a new jail. You're not overcrowded. You're understaffed, so who's going to man that new jail?
Well, to me, this was Joe Chapman going after Walton County, saying it's their fault because it's a poorly designed jail. He's understaffed. There's obviously better ways to make things happen, but Walton County's not allowing him.
I don't blame Walton County in its entirety. I blame him.
Well,
It's been in your jail for 12 years. You're not going to tell me you didn't know how that jail was going to be built when it was built. You're not going to tell me you didn't see the blueprints. You're not going to tell me that you may have said something then, may have said something is not fixing anything.
amen.
Cell. So if you're going to try to anticipate the
just
next
looks so
suicide,
disgusted.
there's just not enough facilities there for that to happen. Although in Linda Yearwood's case, there were some warning signs that were missed, and her daughter says that made a difference.
Mental illness, a huge problem in every jail. As
Absolutely.
you point out. All right,
Yeah.
Randy, thanks very
Thanks,
much.
Randy.
When a
Okay, so there's warning signs that were missed. No, it was like my mom had a stack of these warning signs and kept slapping you in the face repeatedly. She jumped out of a vehicle. Her boyfriend tells you she's suicidal.
Right.
She's done it before. Not to mention the people that I personally told that she was suicidal, that did nothing, the people that work at that jail.
But at this point in time, the only thing that could have been done, I think, differently is someone sent the sheriff an email personally to say she was suicidal. And maybe that would have, that may have worked. It's
In a perfect world.
In a perfect world. This is a clear-cut case of just negligence across the board.
And people keep talking about money. Let me tell you that just based off negligence, I can't even sue them. It has to be gross negligence. They're protected by the government. They can treat our people like this, get away with it, and
Well.
there's nothing that you can do. I would have never known half of the stuff that I know had I not got those medical records.
Well, we're changing a lot of stuff. It goes back to we're not stopping here. We're going to continue forward. We're pushing. I ask that you stay tuned and watch for the actual protest announcement is coming. It's sad. I ask that you definitely pray for Natifah Smith and reach out to the family via my Facebook, and I'll be sure to relay any messages. Allison, I want to say thank you for coming and doing a follow-up with me. Again, I'm speechless when it comes to what happened to your mom. I can't apologize enough for it. Although it's really not my apology to give, but I'm man enough to say, hey, mistakes happen. But that was negligence. It wasn't even a mistake, and I apologize for that negligence.
It was almost like it was intentional, like, I don't know. And then the things that people say, it's that no one has ever said that I was wrong about them mistreating her. What I'm wrong for is speaking my mind. What I'm wrong for is blaming Sheriff Joe Chapman. What I'm wrong for is standing out against him. What I'm wrong for is putting my mom on TV. What I'm wrong for is keeping my mama alive and not letting her rest in peace. No, the only thing that I've ever been wrong about in this entire situation is the fact that I didn't protect my sister the way I should have. Because had I had protected her better from Walton County, she would have never been put in the newspaper like she was. She's grown, she can protect herself, but this has not only cost me family members. Like, I mean, some of my family doesn't even talk to me, and when they do, it's very vague. I go to work, and now people seen my mom on TV, and I live an hour and a half away. They've seen my mom on TV. They've seen the videos that we did the first time, and they're just like, how did you let that happen? How did I let it happen? Like, I can't, for the life of me, understand people's thought process. Like, this one lady was, why even prevent suicide? What world were you born in? Where were you raised at? Who raised you?
Right.
Where was your Bible at? Why prevent suicide? Like, okay, why give chemo for cancer patients? Why remove breast masses for breast cancer?
Right.
Why use dialysis for kidneys? I mean,
just callous comments and insensitive.
And I'm almost thankful that my mom is not here to see the crap that people are saying. Then we wouldn't have anything to talk about on my end. But if she just, there's no way she would put up with some of the people talking to me the way they did. And some of these people that are talking to me the way that they are old enough to be my parents. I'm 24 years old.
Well, you have a support group across the board. A lot of people are coming forward, and as those people come with their negative comments, a lot of people come forward and shut them up. Granted, some of them downright the rude way, but sometimes people don't get the politeness.
And I've tried to be as respectful to these people as I can, in a sense that when they get me to that point and I'm not being respectful, at that point they don't even deserve it. Like I said earlier, it's earned. It is not just handed out like candy on Halloween. You have to earn it.
Right.
And I may be 24 years old, and you may think that I want a bunch of money, and that's perfectly fine. You're entitled to think what you want. That's why you live in America. I don't want money. I'm not after money. I want justice for my mom. I will get justice for my mom. I want things changed with the mental health system in this jail. In this jail particular, there's a lot of stuff needs to be changing, but I'm going all the way to the top for the mental illness. I'm going all the way to the very end of the road if I have to change the way things are handled.
I like everything you're saying, and we're here to help you, definitely, with the Linda Yearwood Foundation. We're definitely going to start trying to create some sponsorships with that and try to break the ground on that and push forward with it, because that's a very, very great thing you're coming up with.
And if I did sue, and any money that I got from that would go toward that foundation to use and benefit in her name, because she didn't deserve it. Nobody deserves it, and she definitely didn't deserve it. She was a good person. She had her problems, but she was a great person, and with everything I got in me, I still have a good many years left on me. It'll change.
That'll work. Well, God bless you for everything. Thank you again. And looking forward to this foundation and working together.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Walton County, we thank you for your time. Again, we ask that you stay tuned for further to come. God bless and take care.